Good evening. Back again today, as I promised. So we're going to finish off some more of this fur, and then we're going to do the nose and come round his muzzle bit, and then we've got the fur to do there. So we'll get some done tonight, and then we may have to do another video. So I started doing a lot more work on this side last night, and then we went across here, which is a little bit lighter. So we've got to keep that balance of the light and the dark side, but we have got to build up some more layers. So the colours that we've been using are, we've got them here. So we've got polychromos, we've got aurora umber, a bista, the green gold, which I don't think we're going to use. Got the burnt ochre, burnt sienna, and got the dark sepia. So that's those there. Okay. They're the colours that we're going to use. It's going to be involved in the fur. I've also got a terracotta, which we use that mainly for just glazing. And then with the luminance, we have got the perylene brown, brown ochre, 50%, and the brown ochre. They're the ones that's in the luminous selection. Okay. So you can see there's some very nice browns in there, warmish browns. And it's basically just mixing up a range of these colours into the fur and just looking where we can see the the darkest colours, the mid-tones and the light colours. Okie dokie. So I'm going to start. So we sort of finished up here. So I'm just looking again, putting a little bit of Bista in. So we are still building up the depth of the colour here. So I'm using short fur line strokes at a light medium pressure. Okay, so that was with the Bista, and then I've now got the brown ochre 50% in the luminance, and I'm just going to go over where I can see some of the lighter patches. So we've got a sort of a light patch here, comes into a grey colour. But it has still got some browns in it. And then also coming out of there, we have got some nice light colours. And then up here, we've got a patch there. And then I'm going to release the pressure off here as we come up to the top of the head. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to the Vista Polychromos range. Putting in some of these colours. Just going to work around some of these areas here. Um, well, let me have a look. I've got the picture here in front of me. So I'm just coming back here and I'm just going to put some of the burnt sienna in. This really is a little bit darker and it needs to come out a little bit. So I'm just flicking, I'm using the point and just flicking. Okay. Dark patch there. So Use some of the Perylene brown there, right? Just right in that bottom bit and across some of this area here. So I'm revisiting some of the areas that we did last night and just making sure that I've got them as dark as I would need them and the lighter areas as light as they can be. Now, there is a bit of a shadowy area here, so I'm going to put a little bit of this dark sepia. Okay, pulling that down. Let me just zoom in. Yep. And then again, I'm just going to put a bit of that dark sepia there and on that side. That's just to make that stand out. I'm now going to go in with some burnt ochre, which is a little bit of a brighter colour. To show some of those brighter. So as we come across, we do get, where we come across here, we do get some bits of brighter colour. Here, in between some of these darker colours. Now for the darker colour, I'm just here, because they're not as dark as these. This one could possibly, yeah, this one possibly is. But the others aren't quite as dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to use the burnt sienna and not add any of the Perylene brown. And I'm just literally laying these in. Now, as we go further up the head, they're not going to be as dark. Okay. We've got a couple of them here as well. Not many on this side, because I say this side is in darkness, a lot darker. Okay. So the ones that are up here that are a bit lighter, I'm doing with the burnt ochre 187, which is the polychromos range. Okay. Following the line, the fur lines. Okay. Then I'm going to go in with the brown ochre 50%, where the lighter tones are. This is a luminance pencil. So let's just fetch that down a little bit. So this is all this area here is quite light, apart from these little bits of the fur, which are, so around them, I'm going to be putting some of the lighter colour. Okay. Then as we come across here, it's going to start getting a whole lot lighter. So I'm just going to glaze over again with some of this terracotta. Just adds a little bit of an orangey, a nice warm orangey gingery. Yeah. And then up at this top, we have a light section. So we used, I've got some brown ochre 10%, which I think is going to be ideal. Yep, that's just the colour I'm looking for. So this is where it starts to get a lot lighter at the top of the head. So again, just looking at the direction of the fur, some of the shapes. That's going to a pinky white there. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to get a nice clean cotton wool bud. You could use a colour shaper or a torsion as well if you wanted, but it's just as easy to use this. So I'm just literally going to go over and just blend this a little bit more. So I'm dry blending, it's not wet, it's nice and dry. And it's just softening in without losing those fur markings. Yeah. Yeah. Um, so just around these markings, I'm just gonna, and then I'm just gonna use the Bista again as a mid-tone, just to sort of come out from around those um darker markings. So it's like a mid-tone and it's going to blend them in a bit more into the lighter tones. Okay, there we go. So you can see them, but only just. Okay, so that's that. I'm just going to get the slice tool and then just looking around and just looking where some of these extra markings could come from. So we've got where this light edge is here, we can just pull in gently. And then what we're basically looking for is where some of these light tones come back out. And we do have some small fine hairs, which I can create with this slice tool. Obviously, very careful on what you're seeing, directional wise and shape wise. Okay, that's quite deep there, and then it comes out. Okay, more. This is all adding texture into the fur as well. So just gently round. And then blow it, and then use your dusting brush, take it off. So it's not too obvious, but you can see, move it up a little bit. So it gives the fur a little bit more texture um, and substance. So we'll see what that happens with that. I'm just now gonna be going into this eye, and I'm just gonna literally a little bit of dark grey in this corner, a shadow. Then we've got some darker, broken sort of dark shadows in here. So you can see where we've been before with the darker brown. So I'm just putting a little bit more shadow into there by using the dark sepia polychromos. A few little, there we go. Okay. Right, so we're back to the polychromos, burnt ochre. I'm actually going to sharpen this pencil. It's a little bit blunt. So the top of his head is quite bright. So literally fetching a little bit more of this colour down. He's using soft strokes. So lightish pressure. And looking at which direction, because the fur does change direction every now and then. So make sure you just keep looking at your reference photograph. That's one of the most important things. Is just train your eye to just keep an eye on the picture, and so you can see which direction the fur's lying and what color you need to be using. Yeah, I'm just going to get some of the white. Okay, so I've just got this bit of white pencil, so let me just make sure it's secure. And now I'm just looking around where I can see some lighter patches that have probably gone a little bit dark. So I've got a nice opaque white, a couple of light areas. So, but they're not white, they're just quite light. So I'm just gonna put some first strokes in just where you can see these areas. These is better. Only light areas that you feel need brightening up. Just doing that now. I'm using a shading motion because as we come across here, we are going to be adding some of the colours, okay? So this bit here is a little bit light. It's got quite a few light bits in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to glaze over some of these areas with the orange. Not all of them. Some of them are quite light. There we go. Okay, so that's that area there. So as you see, if I light a little bit flatter. So now I'm just going to go back with the Bista. Go back over these markings that aren't quite as dark. Some of the others. So I'm just going to go over those a little bit more so we can see them. Okay, so that's them. Then I get the burnt ochre from the luminance selection. This is a bit reddier. So I'm just going to literally put this where I can see sort of dark reddy marks in the fur, but not quite as dark as the Perylene brown. Yeah. And again, I'm just going to go over some of these areas with the slice. And I'm literally not putting in too many, but trying to get in a couple of these light strokes. So I tend to hold it with that bit there at the underneath. So I'm working with this sort of flatter edge there. You can vary the sort of strokes. Put some of them through the darker sections because obviously we've got, if you look carefully, you will see some little light bits, light areas showing. Keep following again, right for the following the fur direction. Yeah. Okay. Right, so some of these areas do need darkening up a little bit more, but I'm using very light pressure with this Perylene red, like Perylene brown. I don't want them as dark as that, obviously. And some of these are just sort of shadows. So they're not actually where the fur. This is really basically where the fur is standing up at a different direction. So when you're looking down, it's a clump of fur, and that's where you can see the bottom of the clump. Okay. It's this bit here at the top. I'm not too impressed with. It's a bit. So I'm just gonna go around this with a little bit harder pressure. And sort of blend, get the cotton wool board and then blend some of these areas so they don't look as though they've just come to an end. And then if you get the bister or the raw umber, sorry, you get the raw umber and do some just light flicks of that colour as though that line is continuing to go over the head, but using very light pressure. And it just breaks. So you're just breaking that line up slightly, but it still looks like it's there. So it doesn't just stop, basically. You've got a continuation of it there. Okay. Here we've got some more light patches. Okay. So let's go back over this area, which is the lighter area. So over this area, it's got more of a pinky come yellowy tone. So the raw umber from the polychromos is quite nice because it's got a sort of a yellowy tinge. So I want to keep that quite light. Okay, some darker areas. There's not as much patterning over this side, I must admit. And we need, if I remember rightly telling you last evening, that we need to have this ear looking a little bit more pinky in certain areas. Okay. So, and also it's got I've got the brown oak 10% because as we come down here, we come round here, this white bit isn't quite white. It's got a bit of it's got a yellowy tone to it. So if we do this quite lightly, there we go. Adds a little bit more colour. And as I say, as we put the pink in, it'll lighten it up a little bit more as well. So it won't look so obvious. So I need the with cinnamon from the Polychromos range, but I also might use a little bit of this red violet as well. So I'm going to go around here again, just looking at where the darker pink areas are. Okay. And then we have some here. Coming out into this area. In this area, I'm just going to do circular motion. So it gives it a little bit of texture, but because it's like a skin, we don't want it to look we don't want it to look like fur or anything. So using either shading motion or circular motion. So got a little bit of a darker edge there. So that's where so here I'm actually going to put in a little bit of the red violet, just so you can see where some of these little loose hairs are coming out and where that's a little bit darker. And then up on here where we've got that bit of contrast. And then here we do have a slight yellow tone. So I'm going to use the light flesh. I'm just going to shade that in on this end and around there. And that will give that ear then a little bit of a yellow tone there. You can see. It's not like a bright yellow, so it's not going to stick out in your face, but it's enough for people to notice. And then with the pink white, if I can find the pink white that we had, let me just get my pencils from over here. And find the pink white. It's there somewhere. So small, I can hardly find it. I'll use this. I'll just use this one for now. This is a little bit of a pink white there. And then just on that very edge, I'm just going to put a little bit of this raw umber. Oh, sorry, green gold. And then blend that in with the light flesh. So if you just do like circular motions there and just blend that in and then fetch that round there, and then that will give you that impression that the ear is folded over. So that ear now is a lot more pink than that ear, which is what is happening in the reference photograph if you look at it. This, even though this side's the lighter side, the ear looks a lot more light and transparent on this side. That side it's more pink and more prominent there. Okie dokie. So here, as I say, we've hardly got any markings. We've just got these few here. And then we've got quite a lot of light area up there. So the colours we've got in that section, so we've got some pinky colours. So I might just glaze a little bit with this, with the cinnamon, the polychromos cinnamon. So I'm just going to glaze over this area. That's all I'm basically going to do. And then round here. There we go. So that's made it look a little bit pinkier. And then I'm going to take the brown ochre 10%. And then this is illuminance. I'm just going to follow and build up some layers on here. So I'll blend them into these few dark areas that we've got here. Pull them out just so they're nice, softening nicely. And then on here on this cheek, this is fairly light. So we'll use this Inktober 10%. So push that round there. Okay, and then got a little bit of a dark patch here. So I'm going to use the Burnt Sienna from the Polychromos range. And again, I'm just going to shove that. So pushing that pencil into that white section of the eye there. That sort of comes to a point there. And then it sort of comes out a little bit here, then back into that point. And then we've got another little line of it here. I say again, watching where all the fur is coming and which direction, which way the fur is curving. I'm going to take the raw umber again. And then this is going to be coming out from these darker edges because it's a mid-tone, but it's the lighter of the mid-tones. So I'm just going to go over some of this. So when you go over the darker bits, it'll darken them, but it will put some of that mid-tone colour into the fur. We've got a little bit of the light fur there, a little bit lighter here. And then this bit here, this goes into here. Sort of comes around and out as though this bit's folding over that way. And then we've got another bit there. Doesn't go right to the edge because that's white. So if we take the white pencil again and just literally push. So you're pushing and pulling so that we're getting some of these white areas. So they do look a little bit whiter. And so that looks like it's coming forward. Okay. Now then what we got. So just need a few little darker parts, which are slightly darker than, so I'm going to use the burnt ochre luminance 50%. So I'm just going to, where these areas are a slightly bit darker, I'm just putting some fur lines there. And then I'm just going to glaze with a little bit of the green gold in this area. Around here. Okay. So this side is slightly lighter than that. So now I'm going to take the slice. In fact, first I'm going to get a cotton wool bud and we're going to, like we did on the other side, we're going to dry blend So I'm just going to use the cotton wool board and gently, we don't want to be sort of being abrasive with it and really rubbing it. We just want to gently, so we're blending it, but we're not losing any of the definition or any of the, the lines, the definite fur lines. We're just blending. So it's just softening in those bits of hair. So now looking on this side, so I'm going to be looking at, and I'm taking the slice. So like this here is probably a little bit too much. By using the slice and fetching the light color back in, can you see how it's reducing the dark area that I had there? So if you feel like you've gone too far with it or too mad, don't panic. Just use the slice, and you can reduce the darker areas if you need to. Simple as. Just make sure you'll soon know if you haven't got enough layers down, because if you haven't got enough layers down, the slice will not work. It needs plenty of layers, but also, like I said, I found that if you put luminance as your base layers and then do your detail with your polychromos, you actually can use the slice a lot better. It's a lot more cooperative, should we say. Okay, just going to put a few on this ear just to add a few bits of light coming through. And then down here, I just want to pull some of that white bits out there. And again, I think we may have a bit too much of that dark there. Okay, right. Get rid of some of that dust. So that's the head for now. So as you can see, it's there's a pink white. Let me just. I'm using a medium pressure here, and I'm just pushing that pink white into that darker section at the top. But then that's just so that we can show that that's lighter and it's obviously going over the edge. Okay, put some of the pink white there. And also we've got some of the pink white just here and here. Okie dokie. So leave that for now. I'll just pull it up so you can have a good look round so you can see. So you can't see too definite a stroke, but you can see, because like I said, I don't want it white. I don't want to sort of take all the pigment off the paper. I just need to lift some of these colours so that they look like the lighter of that colour. Okay, so it's not white, but it's made it look lighter. Okie dokie. So now we're coming down to the nose. So let me come back in here. Right, colours for the nose. Let's have a look. I'm going to use, excuse me, what have we got? We've got a little bit. So I'm going to use a little bit of this primrose because he's got right down this light lit side there. I've got some primrose. I've got some white, but if the primrose is too yellowy, I've got the light flesh, 10% in the luminance. So we can use that. So these are for the base layers. We've got a bit of a pink tone going on in there. So we've got the white pink, and I might even use a little bit of this burnt ochre 50%. It's a brown, but it's got a pinky tone to it. So for the base layer, that will be fine. We've got a bit of, right, we've got some greys going on. So I'm going to use This one. This one is the. So we've got some raw rumber 10%. Let me have a look. Did we not have the French? That's the raw lumber. Where's the French grey gone? Yeah, I've got the French grey 10%. So for the base layer, we can use that. And then we can top that up with when we come to detail with the dark sepia, or we may use some of the greys from the luminous section. Let's have a look. What other grey have we got there? Right, I've got the French grey itself. Now, I'm not going to use all of these colours, but I'm just trying to think out loud about the colours. So, I know, as I say, I usually write down all of the colours that we do use, but if we haven't got them, then, I want you to be able to, like myself, pick up some colours and sort of think, yes, that's the sort of colour we're going to use. So what we've got here, no, we don't want steel grey, it's too cold. So I've got some warm polychromos. I've got a warm grey 3, and I've also got a cold grey as well. But for the tones, that they might work well together, and also the green gold, because there is a slight hint of green to it. Then have a look. What else have we got? We've got the raw umber from the polychromos range for the bottom round here, because it's a lot more, and it's got a grey tone to it as well. So I'm going to use the Bister. I think it's got a brown, but it's a sort of duller brown. So I'm going to use the Bister. Let's have a look. It's got a bit of pink, so I've got the cinnamon. So we'll start with those colours for now. I'm just going to literally finish. I've just noticed here some of this eye. Just want to put a little bit more black shadow into this area. Same on that side. Just so if you need to readjust the pupils and that, just at any time, you can just do that. Let me just get my paper. There we go. Right, so you can see this nose. It looks it looks a bit of a funny shape on the drawing. So I'm going to use my putty rubber, and I'm just going to literally, like I've done before, just lift. So I'm not too bothered about where these darker areas are, because they're going to be dark anyway, but I can lift out some of this area here. Okay. Just now I want to use I'm going to use the mono, because this bit here is very light. So I just don't want that side bit showing just there. Okay. I need to see it. I know the line's there, but it's very, very light now. So first of all, I'm going to mark in with the dark sepia, nice sharp dark sepia. I'm going to mark in some of these darker areas here. So being very careful and using light colour. So I'm going to put this, should help start shaping the nose. There's a little bit comes down here. And this side, it sort of comes up there. Now I might have to rub some of this out, because I may have got the shape slightly wrong. Yeah, because it sort of comes there and then round there. That's it. So it's more of a sharp turn there. And then we've got this section here, which comes down there. And then we've got a very small. Which way is that going? Is it curling up or down? It's round that way, I think. Okay. I've just lightly blotted in where the dark markings are going to go. They will probably end up being a bit more browny. So I'm going to get the dark sepia just to, so I'm just going to softly go around. So this bit comes out a little bit more there. Okay. Same over there. I'm just going to go over this dark bit there and there. So it darkens it up a little bit. And then this is where it comes into this shadow area here. Okay. Right. So as I said, with the base layers, I'm going to use some of these colors. Might not use them all, but we've got the French grey 10%, French grey full. We've got the pink white. We've got the light flesh 10%, the burnt ochre 50%, and the primrose. Now the primrose might be a bit too yellow, so we'll go for the light flesh. So now I'm just going to block in some of these shapes of colours for as the lighter layers. Okay, so we've got so I'm going to use this the pink white just to, so that's sort of coming from there and that's going to come down here. That's the white part of his face. For now, I'm just going to mark it in roughly and it disappears into there. Okay. And then from this, oh, then it goes up. So this side of the nose is some of that in that area there. And then we've got some white there. So I'm going to put a bit of the pink white there. Got a little bit on his nostril just there. And then here he's got some pink white. Let me just rub that out because it's I've noticed there's some extra graphite there, so we don't want that. Like I say, graphite mixed with colour pencil isn't very nice. So that's a very light area of the nose where the light's reflecting. And then there's a little bit round here. Not much, just a little bit. Okay, dokie. So I've marked them in. You can't see them too well, but they're there. And then if I just come round here, this part here is actually, I'm going to actually use the Pablo. I'm going to use a Pablo white. Fill this in with some white here. He's got this side of his face, he's got like a white stripe. They've got the white on each side of the muzzle, but on this side, it is quite significantly wider than on that side. And living with him, I know how much that is. So, and then what I'll use is we've got the raw umber 10% because he's got quite a bit of shadow. So I'm just very lightly shading in the direction of the fur. Down here a little bit. Comes round there. And then it comes up there. Okay, so it's got a little bit of shadow there. So that's in the luminance, just to initially put that in place so we know where it is. Now there is one thing I'm going to mark in. He's got a black. We don't know what it is. It sounds a bit ominous, but it's here. He's got a little black spot. He's had it for a number of years. We don't know what it is, but I'm just going to put it in so it reminds me to make sure it's there. So that's special to him. So that's how I know it's him. So we've got him there. Right then. So again, using these colours, let's have a look with the luminance. So I've got the light flesh. So on this side, we've got quite a light. So let me try and rub some of these because they're very light. So all of this area here is fairly light. It comes up here, and then it goes into another, so it gets a bit dark. So I'm going to swap from the primrose to this light flesh just here, because this is a little bit darker. Okay. That sort of goes there, and then it comes around and it comes into this section here, there. So that's sort of, and that gets lighter still. So I'll go back to the primrose again there. Just push that in there. So that's, so you might not see it too clearly, but we've got the primrose just here, which is very light. I'm blocking that in, and then I've used the light flesh just up this side as it blends back into the brownie tones there. Okay, so that's just blocked in. So you won't see the colours that well, but they are there. They're very light. As I say, I work very light to start with. And then I'm going to use this. We've got the burnt ochre 50%. And I'm going to use that just here on this bit of the nose. So it comes across the bridge of the nose, up round this light area. And that shapes this muzzle there. And then it comes here, around here. Okay, and then into this bit where it's light. So just there. So that's the shape roughly just there. Well, these are very, very short hairs. So that comes up to about there. Okay. Then we've got the pink, white down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this bit with the pink, white as well, just to put that little bit of a pinky tone in there. Same with this yellowy colours that we've used, the light colours. I'm just going to put a little bit of the white pink over the top. So, and then down this little bottom piece of the nose here, it's sort of, it's got a shadow. So we're using the, excuse me, French grey 10%. And the nose has got like a little, so it's got like little round, so it's where the skin meets up there. Okay. And a little bit round there. That bit's white. Okay. There we go. So that's for now. And then what we've got is the French. Don't need the French grey itself. Might just use it for that bit there. Then the light French grey, I'm going to fetch. That's the shadow. So I'm just going to fetch that out from that shadow there. We're putting other colours on it, but just for now, comes down either side of this, and I'm just going to put a little bit of the French grey. So this is just a base iron, just around the edges here of the muzzle, because it has got a bit of a grey tone to it there. Okay. And same on this side here. So it comes out of here. That's going to be a white piece. But it's got a little bit of a shadow there. Okay, so we've got the shadow coming there. Okay. That's plotted that in. So now I need some brune. Let's have a look. Probably that's a bit too right, a brown. In the luminance. So what we got here, is that the same? No, that's, so I'm going to use the brown ochre. This one was a bit too red, too brown, because the colours on the nose are a little bit more neutered. So what we're going to do is, this is where there's a shadow on this edge of the nose here. Okay. And it's going to come out to about there, and it comes around here into this. We're going to build this darker shadow up here. Okay, so that's where that comes there. And then it comes up here and then gradually goes a bit lighter. So I'm loosening the pressure a bit there. It's got that's got a distinctive edge here. Okay, and then it's got some darker sections. So I'm just going to plot them in that go sort of up there like that. And that one comes across. And then we've got some darker bits just here. Okay, okay. Okay. Then using this color again, I'm just going to plot in some of these. You know where the whiskers come from. So all I'm doing is putting in. Just be careful, because watch your reference photograph again, because some of them are very light and then others are a bit more prominent. And then up here we've got some more darker. So this is the darker. I'm putting the darker shades in here, and then we'll work around them with the light colors. Okay. Then there is a little bit of a dark, so I'm going to put that in there just so I know what that is. Okay, dokie. That's coming out there, and it comes around, and then these are the little, yeah, and then that's around there. That's where the shaded part of the nose is. There we go. And then this bit here, that's the little chin. Let me just straighten that up a little bit. That's it. It needs a bit more on that side, because it is almost, that's it. Right, that's the right shape. Yep. So then let's come across here. Got a little bit of the brown shadow there. And then we've got it coming up this side of the nose again, and it comes across there. And then light there, and then it gets a bit darker here. So I'll put some light there and then dark. And that comes down here to there. A little bit further down on there. And then here we've got some of these nodules again, where the whiskers come out of. Okay, and then here it's sort of got a bit of a shape there. And that's going that way. So it looks a little bit messy at the moment, but we're getting there. Okay, so that's that. So we need so for the lighter color, I'm going to use the light flesh. And what I'm going to do is put the light flesh sort of everywhere what's left. Again, I'm trying to follow the fur. But I am only shading these in because these are just the base layers. So we will be putting other layers on. And then around here. A bit lighter there. Coming up here. What we got up here on this side here. Right, we've got a little bit of the darker colour there. Well, it's still fairly light, but it's and then we've got here, we have got some light flesh. I'm just going to rub that line out because that line's needed now. That one either. Okay, okay. So we have some light coming up here. But also interlinked with that, we have got some greys. So what I'm going to do is for the base layer, I'm actually going to put some of the French grey 10%. So we have some of that here. So coming around here, a fair bit of it here. So that comes into there. Okay. Comes across to there. Some of the grey here. Grey there. And then we've also got some pink. So what I'm going to do is we haven't got a pinky colour. So I'm going to use the cinnamon from the polychromos, and I'm just going to go over some of this. It goes into that grey colour. So it's a pink, but I mean it's a grey, but it's a pinky grey. Okay. Right then, so now we've got where we're going down. I'm just gonna again get a clean cotton wool bud and blend some of this in. And once you start, so I'm going in from the light to the dark there. So I'm just turning the cotton wool bud over. I don't want it to go too muddy. And then we've got some here, some light colours here, going into darker colours and then into the white and grey there. Again, just softening these. So it's not a full blend, but it's softening them up. So we can see we're getting the shape of the muzzle. But again, it's still looking fairly ugly. So I'm going on to the polychromos now. I may just actually use a bit more of this brown. So this is the brown ochre. I'm going to use this for this nose. So it comes in there, down there a little bit. And then up here, that's where it gets darker. So putting some darker colour there, and then just going to pull this out slightly there. So it's, and then here comes in and it's going to be dark in there, but then it's going to come out be really dark there. I'm putting in basically the really dark sections now. Yeah. So right now using the polychromos. These are the colours we're going to use. I'll go over them again. We've got some Vista. We've got the raw umber. We've got the warm grey 3. We've got some green gold. We may not use it. Cold grey 6, bit sienna, and some dark sepia. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to start with this Vista. 179, and I'm just going to lightly. So this is where, if you look really close at a cat's nose and that, the hairs change direction. It's unbelievable how many times. So this bit here is coming down this way. Okay, and that's going to go up there. And then comes round here and it comes in there. So I'm only shading these in because we're not going to really see that much detail on here because the hairs are so small. It's unbelievable. Just going over this shadowy area there. And then that comes up there, and then that's it. So that's there, and then it comes down, and then that changes direction there, and then that goes up into there. Yeah, like that. So if you look roughly at the shape that comes down like that, it follows a line basically. Okay. So that was with the Bister. So now I'm going to start and darken up this. So I'm using circular motions here because this is, except when I get here, then I'm going to do some but just shading motions, but very small. Because this is more or less a definite line around because it's a shadow. So we've got definite line there, then that comes off and it's got that produces like an umbrella bit there, and then that comes around the nose, and then this is dark and it comes out lighter here. Okay. Keep pulling that out just because that gets lighter as it goes into the nostril. And then on this side, it's mainly dark here. And then as it comes up there, it gets dark. And then we've got this. So start to pull that out so it's a lot lighter. Lift your pressure. Okay. So get the really dark sections. I'm not going to use a black. I'm actually going to use this dark sepia. So by looking at him, his nose, it goes in slightly there. And then pull that out. That's it. And then just literally a little bit at the top here. Go. So you can see how it's gently blending, and then we're going to go back to the reddy brown, the burnt sienna. So when you look at your reference, it is a brown, and it's a reddy brown. Okay, and that comes up there. But it's, if you put the real, the dark sepia there, you can see where it looks like you're going into the nostril. And so here we've got the dark sepia just here, and then it literally comes up there. And then again, just put, there isn't as much shadow on this side. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to be looking. So we have got some dark areas here. So if you look at the direction of the fur, it sort of comes like that. And it comes down to there. Okay. Then we have these little pockets of fur, which the whiskers come from, and a little bit more dark. Now, because we've got the grey there as well, I'm going to take the warm grey 3, and I'm just adding some warm grey 3 just around this area here, because it's going to be quite, it needs to be, it's got like a grey, it's a brown, but it's got a grey in there. It's got a shadow, a very light shadow. as I say, the colours here are a lot more muted than what they are up there. And then if I look round this side, we've got, I'll put the warm grey in there. Okay. And the Bista again. Just going to put in, I'm starting to put some detail in now. Okay, so that was the Bista. So now I'm going to use the raw umber from the Polychromos for this lighter. So because there isn't a lot in the colour, tonal wise, I'm looking for a colour that's gonna, but it has got that lighter. I'm just coming down here. Going into this grey area. That will dull that colour down more. So shade it to start. Okay. Then I'm just going to put a little bit of it there. I'm just going to start to move up that end. But then we need to put in some warm grey. Polychromos warm grey 3. Okay. Starts to go up there. This is where the fur changes all different directions. There we go. Some of this grey can come down into this pink area, but just release your pressure a little bit. Okay. That's got a bit of a greeny colour to it. So I'm going to just glaze a little bit of green gold over there for now. Then what I'll do is I'll go back with the grey just to dull that. So I don't want it too greeny. Okay. Right. So now I'm going to go back to the Bista. And then start to build up some of these details. Now, just before that, I'm going to put in a little bit of the cold grey, just in these, but very lightly, just where these nodule bits of fur where the whiskers come from. Okay, just there. So then I can go back over with, I'm going to just sharpen this Bista up. Okay. I mean, very, very tiny strokes, and I'm just going in the direction of the fur. Now, when I get to a dark section, I'm going to put more strokes closer together, but then just pull out into the lighter section. Build that up slowly. Okay. And I'm just going to pull this up a little bit more because it does. So I'm putting a little bit more pressure on it and just fetching it up so it sort of comes up to there. So this comes out. This is that shadow that comes around the nose end there. Okay. Again, I'm just going to go back with the raw umber. So you're going to push some strokes and pull some strokes so you get that textured look. Okay. There we go. But then I'm just going to literally put a little bit of warm grey glaze. Just over there. Okay. And then pull that back up there. Okay. So when I pull the reference photo in a bit more, top half is more orangey ginger colours. And as we come down here on the nose, they become more muted. So if you look at it close up, they are a bit more muted colours than what they are at the top. On your bit, I don't know, don't look as muted as what it is on here, but as I say, it's it's obviously the camera. Right, so I'm going to come now here. Now, right on the edge of this nose here, just as we're coming out here, we have got, I'm going to put some warm grey 3 just there. Going near to that lighter area. Down here, and then I've got sort of a bit of a V shape going on here. So I'm going to put a little bit more of the grey there. Okay, and then what I'm going to use is I've got this pink there over the top of the grey. Make sure you blend this into all these sides. Across here, then gently lead it into that, blend it gently or pull off your pressure so it goes into that lighter area there. And then down here, we're going to have a bit of the pink over the top of the grey. Okay. That. And then I'm going to use the cold grey just to put a little bit more darker grey colour there and there. Then we have got the browny area here is bothering me. It's quite the right. There we go. A bit better. Then just over that pink, I am actually going to put a bit of the brown ochre from the luminance range because it's not really a pink, it's a browny pink, but I'm just going to do a light glaze. So, okay. And then in that lighter area there, I'm going to use a pink white. Just blend all that there together. I'm blending with the pink white just for the nose there. Okay. the luminance pink white. Again, just go over with some French Grey 10%. Then I'm going to use the dark sepia and the burnt sienna again over here. And that shadow in down here. And just put some more dark sepia there. We've got that nice shadow around the nose end here. Also here. Here. And coming out of here. Right. I've missed that bit there. That comes around there. I've missed. Yeah, good. There. There. On that side. Okay. So that's the Aurora Umber side. And then also the Bista. Okay. Now then it's up to you. If you can still see these, that's fine. If you want to darken them up slightly, you can do, but you don't want to darken them up too much because they don't stick out that much. I'm going to use the Bista here first. So he's going to have a shadow underneath there and pull it out a bit lighter. Using the dark sepia. Make sure we've got that in there. And put just a little bit of dark sepia there for the shadow. Make sure that's darker. And just pull it out a little bit lighter there. And then just put some little hairlines in. Okay. And then this side, going to use the Bista over this warm grey. Now it has got a bit of a white patch here, so just be careful. Go around that. There we go. The little bit of a white edge there, but not much. Come round here to that bit there. In there. And round there. Okay. Now then, I want the burnt sienna because this bit here is a little bit more ready than any of the other bits on his face. So I'm just literally, because it's quite textured, comes around down to about there, comes up there, and that joins that. section there. Just comes down there a bit. Let's put in these. Well, we've got this, some of those bits for the whiskers. Okay. Now that is a little bit more orangey than what that comes out. So I'm just going to do a light glaze of the terracotta, poricomos terracotta, which we've used up there. So that will make that look that little bit orangier. It's got like an orange tinge to it. Just put a glaze on. So now I'm going to get the raw umber. Going over this with the raw umber. Okay. Right, so it's quite light over there. So I'm just going to flip. Bister again. Okay. Again, I'm just going to do a layer, a glaze of the orange or terracotta, should we say. Then I'm going to get the warm grey 3, and I'm just going to put warm grey 3 here because that's a lot lighter. You had the warm grey 3 little, so I'm just going to put a glaze of that over there. Okay. So coming up here now, so this is where the darker bits of the grey show. Again, just put a little bit of the warm grey. So on there you can see we've got some warm greys in there and a bit greenier colour. Okay. Down to there. So now we need I'm going to use the luminance brown ochre 10%. And I'm going to use that here. So I'm coming out of this grey over where that black spot is. Around here. Around here, and then there's a little bit of a white patch there. And that comes into this white area here. Okay, but then I need to put in some pink because if you look at it, it's got a bit of pink in it. So we just go over with the cinnamon from the Polychromos range. And if you look how it shapes very funny. There we go. And then that comes into this white area here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glaze over that or blend that in with the white Caran d'Ache. So I'm going to go over all of this with the white Pablo. And that will mute everything down. So I'm actually just blending these colours together. Okay. Yeah. Still looks a little bit too light around there, so I'm probably going to put a little bit of the bistre slightly into here, but very lightly around this part of the eye because it's not as bright as the other side. Okay. So now I'm going to get the slice tool and I'm just going to have a quick see if we can get some, because we have got on the nose, even though there's all these colours, they sort of intermingle with each other. So by putting the slice through very lightly, that helps to pull them into each other so that they cross over. And then here we can put in some little tiny fur lines in the direction and give this muzzle a little bit of shape and texture. Okay, so that bit there, again, look very carefully because it does change direction a lot here. And this bit looks as though it's mottled coming down that way. Okay. So this side, it's quite dark here, so isn't going to be as much markings. Okay. Okay. So I think that's enough for the nose and the muzzle. So let's have a look now. If I hold that up. Okay. Don't know why my Zoom isn't working at the moment. Oh, hang on. Is it working now? Right, there we go. Let me zoom out a little bit. It should. Come on. There we go. Okay. So there we go. That's what we've got so far. So we've done his eyes, done his muzzle, and we've done his nose. I think I'm just missing. I've just sort of looked. I'm just looking. Where's the raw umber? Yeah, that's the raw umber. So I'm just looking here. It's a little bit more yellow than what I'm seeing. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the raw umber there. That helps. Yeah. As I say, you can see all these little things when you start. If you sit back, if you're sitting back from it, you will notice all of these little sections that need doing. Okay. Maybe just a little bit more shadow on the nose. If I can get a little bit of black in there and just see if that will go. Pressure as you come out. That's better. There you go. Okay. Right then. So I'll leave it at that for now. And then tomorrow we will complete the fur lines. So they will be complete, and then that will be it. So it'll be done. We'll whiskey. So this section is going to be concentrating on dealing with white fur, and then we've got some darker fur at this end here. But just for now, let me just think we're about done. Better. I think we're just about done now for his muzzle. And obviously his fur on the top of his head. Just got a few bits of different colours here, which quite getting why. Some pink in there just here. Yep, there, just a little bit pink. There we go. I think that's better. There we go. Okay. No, actually, that's still a bit it's too light. Try and shade some more colour in. Um, the white. Yep, looking better. Some dark grey bits here, I think. I think, yeah. That's it. That makes the nose come forward a little bit more. So just add. Okie dokie. So that's what we've got for now. And then we will be completing him tomorrow night. So I hope you wish you every success with it. And I'm sure I will be looking forward to seeing some very nice pieces from this. I know there's a lot of you out there that I'm good friends with anyway, but I know what you're quite capable of, and I think you will do very well. Okay, so I hope you enjoy it so far. So that's what you should be up to, and then we'll finish the last piece tomorrow night. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and good luck. Not that you'll need it, but I hope we just get some enjoyment out of it and learn a few pieces. Okay, right then. So I will see you all tomorrow night, and thank you very much.